Hello everyone, this video is not sponsored. This is the Mattel Brick Shop Hot Wheels Custom 1968 Camaro set. I bought this for $20 US from Target. It comes with 289 pieces, and as usual, it comes with a 64th scale regular diecast car as well. I'm not a Hot Wheels guy myself, so I don't know anything about the rarity and release of this particular little car here, but it does have a plastic chassis. It's stamped 2023 on the underside, and it has a metallic interior, no opening parts. What they call 1/32nd scale for the brick-built car here is approximately 8 studs wide, so just kind of overall compatible with the latest standard for minifig-ish sized cars. See, this one's just a little bit smaller than this one in particular, but it does not come with any figures itself. There are no stickers on the car right now, although there is a sticker sheet included, which is entirely optional. I'll show you that a little bit later on. Everything that you're looking at right now, if it's a decoration, it's either done with just regular plastic pieces or with prints. This one does not rely very much at all on what I would consider specialized parts. It mostly just uses pieces that, well, some of them you might not recognize, but they're definitely part of a system and reusable for other different vehicles. The most specialized thing here is the windscreen, and this company and this brand has for well over a decade now been willing to invest the significant amount that it costs to make additional molds to make things look right when they feel the need. They have a huge variety of parts, and there's no exception here. The number of pieces, the number of interesting pieces that you would not see from the most popular brand out there is just fantastic to see. But I know some folks don't like when parts that are more set specific show up in things, but there's a lot of I don't know, just a lot of inconsistency in how people respond to that, because when the big brand does specialized parts, people hail it as wonderful. I just think of all the things that we'll be able to do with this specialized piece in the future, and when other companies do it, then it's a big problem. So I'm just looking at this as it is. I've had experience with sets from Mega, now just Mattel, for a very long time, and I feel like they generally make good decisions, and they still give you a very genuine brick building experience that, I mean, again, this has over 200 pieces. It's not... Unlike what some detractors would constantly try to tell you, these things are not made from just a few specialized parts by any means. This is absolutely fully genuine brick-built stuff. It just did have the additional investment into special molds to make this look as good as the designers wanted it to be. And, some of those are just subjective choices. Overall, the build for this one was pretty fun. It builds in enough different directions that I was excited. Along the way, it felt interesting. Some of the parts, some of the colors, some of the prints were just enjoyable to me. The doors open, no opening hood or trunk on this one to get access to the interior. You just have to pull the entire top off, which has multiple pieces here. You could consider these to be specialized parts, but just imagine how many places those can be used, right? It's not a Camaro specific piece for the back of the roof there. Got the print for the console there as well. You can actually adjust the angle of the steering wheel. Here's what the interior proportions look like with a random minifigure added to it, though, just from my own collection. And when I go to put this roof back on, in this particular case here, it just barely fits with that particular hairpiece that I've got on there. So some hair pieces might not quite fit, but this one just does, and that's more than good enough for me. Not that these have to be designed to hold another company's figure products, but I'm glad that this is able to do that. So, folks who want to mix their favorite figures with better cars can do so. This has some nice, talk about specialized parts, some nice tires. Look at how fat these are. They're just thick. I love it. I was very happy to see that. They've also got a significant sidewall height as well, so they're not all super low profile. This back here looks kind of plain to me, this rear diffuser area, and I think that's inspired by the Hot Wheels car, which in turn I believe was designed by Hot Wheels designers. I don't think it's based on an actual single real life car, but overall I think that most of the notes of this have been captured in the brick-built version, although I'm not the biggest fan of, there's a step right there. Like if you look at it just from the side, some of that kind of goes away, but that vertical step right there just is a little bit off. I think the front end is done pretty well. Maybe these just stick out just a bit, but this does have that wide body design going on, and then the cutouts beneath the fenders, both in front and to the rear as well. This, to me, feels a little bit like a hybrid between the nicer mega branded, Hot Wheels cars that they did prior to the start of the Mattel Brickshop brand and the newer stuff. And I'm good with it. Kind of wish that there was just a little bit more pizzazz to the exterior. And I'll tell you one thing about that where I do have an issue with expectation setting. And that's here on the box. So here you can see that looks like chrome. And it doesn't necessarily have to be chrome, but it's got to be, nicer than just injection molded plastic. And on the real thing that you actually build here, it's just injection molded plastic in there. Now they do have a coated tip right here. So the exhaust tip is coated. But then in here, all this is just injection molded, which is fine and all, except for the fact that here it looks like it's at least coated, if not chromed, if not electroplated. So I think the expectations set by the imagery on the box are a bit off. And even when you look at the wheels here, these look like they're pretty shiny to me. They do have two sets of wheels. I'll show you the other ones, but the defaults here are definitely not shiny. And most of the metal pieces or metallic pieces that look a certain way aren't quite that way on this version. I just think they should have taken or used more realistic renders. The prints here don't have the best alignment. You can see that this one here is off just a little bit. The horizontal alignment of it is just slightly off. You know what? I didn't try swapping this around. I shouldn't have to, but I figured it's worth a shot. Oh, well, that does work. That does work there. It is possible that that's the way that it needs to be done, that each of these is offset similarly. I only bought one, so I can't give you a sample size larger than that. Let me take this figure out as well, since it's not part of the product. But overall, yeah, like I said, I did enjoy putting this together. It did have a little bit of a slightly fragile bit here, the C-pillar. Before assembling everything together, the C-pillar just was feeling a little bit fragile. But overall, this feels pretty good. It is awkward to me that the company continually calls out these pieces, these 1/2 thickness inverted tiles that they use on the undersides of a lot of these vehicles as a new development. They kind of give themselves credit for developing these pieces. Actually, that's not one. That's a different thing here. But these are those, and these are them. Just half height inverted tiles. They didn't invent that. They weren't the first to come to market. Kobe's been doing those for years and years and years now. So it's just awkward that they say that. It's a tiny, tiny nitpick. That right there is a die-cast piece that you can pop out and use as a keychain if you want. And let me show you the options stuff. So here are the shinier wheels, and these do look good, even though they do show like I said, the main wheels also being shiny, which they are not. But these are nicer. They're not actually metal. They're just a coated plastic. And then they give you a large sticker sheet. So you can optionally apply these if you want to make it look a little bit fancier. Here's what the car looks like with the option wheels or wheel covers or wheel inserts on. These look so much better to me. The design looks better, but most importantly, just the finish just really elevates the whole thing so much. I almost feel like those should have been the default. I feel just better about the car itself right now. I'm not going to put the stickers on for this video, but I'll pick some for myself over time. If you see the car from me again in the future, it'll probably have some stickers on it, because I feel like this is one of those cases where they do add. This is a fantasy car. It's not a real car. And if it was a real car, I think it would also still look better with the stickers on it, with the rest of the rest of the graphics that are already on it, with the prints that are just baked in. So I think adding just a little bit. I probably won't add the Hot Wheels one on the front, but some of these things on the sides, the number plate, the Camaro visor up there. Yeah, I'll add some little bits, kind of just to taste. And that's entirely how they've designed it to be done. Just do it to taste. So if you want something that's a little bit more clean, you can have it that way. But if you do want some details, you're still getting that slight bit of premium result in premium value by having pretty decent prints on there. Like the opacity here is good. It's interesting. It's not a bright white. It's like a warm white, but I think that's intentional. And again, opacity seems fine to me and seems consistent enough. Once I flip this around, things lined up well enough. These back here aren't perfect, but they're pretty close. Just in general, again, I'm pretty happy with this. Just think that they should have done better with their accurate rendering on the box. Lastly, I just wanted to show off the leftover pieces, just spares here. It counters a couple of weak arguments that I get tired of seeing constantly. Number one, that things like this are only made, people literally just come in and out of nowhere, don't even look at the thing and just say, this is only made of all specialized parts. I like brick-built stuff to be actually brick-built, and they completely ignore the fact that almost all of it is regular brick-built or uses smaller pieces than the big brand, and they just focus on like this as a specialized part and then just throw the rest away. And there are so many little pieces that this is made of. Again, over 200 pieces here. The overwhelming majority of it is good building experience. The other argument is the idea that the big brand, the big L brand, invented all parts ever, and all that any other brand does is copy all the parts, and therefore every other brand saves just billions of dollars a year of part design, which is completely preposterous. First of all, the main big brand stole the main brick design in 1949, which was already patented from another company in 1947 to start the company. But then beyond that, the part development budget for the big brand is tiny by comparison to the cost of everything that they do. It is absolutely minuscule and always has been. It's bigger now than it's ever been, and still truly, truly tiny. Such a tiny part of the business. And yet other companies are making other pieces and have been for decades, been making pieces that the big brand does not have. Super useful stuff that is like, people talk about building a system. Yeah, this is a great component of a system because you can put multiple of those. You can stack multiple of them up on top of one another. You can turn 90 degrees between them. You can go back and forth. Like the stuff that you can do with some of these pieces is just fantastic. A lot of people, when they see this, if they've not seen anything other than from the Danish brand, they say, well, that is clearly just going to break. That is a terrible design of piece. It's just going to break. Well, I've been building things like using these parts, these nice no offset bracket pieces for well over a decade. Mega's been using them for well over a decade. And I've never broken a single one. I've done some custom builds using them. They're fantastic. They work great. They're actually plenty strong. And look, they've got the tile version of it as well. They've got versions that have the stud on the side in the middle or up. So you've got down, up, and also middle. So different versions for different scenarios. Just really allows you to do fantastic things. And I really appreciate just being able to experience really interesting builds with really interesting parts, including cool colors as well. Anyway, I went tangential on a couple topics there. Every once in a while, I like to just get caught up with responding to common comments, especially misconceptions, and just try to set some records straight and, provide some information out there for folks who just simply don't know some of these things because they just don't have the experience. I know that this design here is not going to be for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. No company makes exclusively stuff that everyone likes. It's just not possible. Different people have different tastes. This is based off of a toy car, which in turn is just inspired by certain elements of car culture, and I think this has every right to exist. I think that Hot Wheels itself is kind of iconic in its own way and always has been. They're kind of starting to, they have been for a while now, moving more towards the adult market, the collector market more than ever, even though the collector market has been around for multiple generations. They're just, leaning into it a little bit more as the market has shifted in that kind of way. And I think it's great. Again, not for everybody, but I think that this particular car right here that I'm covering in this video is nice. I think it's well done for what it is. Could have been just slightly, maybe a little bit more rounded, and definitely that C panel or C pillar could have been just a little bit, nicer, more well completed there. But otherwise, and the render on the box should not have shown the other wheels and some of these other pieces, especially the grille and stuff, being shiny. They're shinier than they are. small nitpicks, but all in all, a happy, fun experience, and just 20 bucks for this right here. Works for me, definitely works for me. I look forward to more in this scale and 1/16th scale. And maybe, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 per year of the 12 scales would do the trick. But yeah, nice stuff overall. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.